Hello everyone, this is VBP again, VTU Business Portal, and in this video we will be integrating VT PASS API into VBP. As you have seen, we are on the VT PASS documentation page, API documentation page. So it's one of the simplest I've seen, and it's very okay. So what we're gonna do right now is to go straight to integrating the airtime API. So I'm just gonna integrate one, that's the MTN. So that, but the thing is that it goes like that for the same format. I'm gonna talk about it, but we'll be implementing just one for the API, for the airtime API. So I'm going back to my VBP dashboard. I log in, then after logging in, I will see something like this. Then I can go straight now to APIs for airtime. You understand? So I'm going to just click on that VT pass. I've created one already, but I'm still going to show you how it worked, or how I was able to make it work. So we're going to be discussing this now. So I'm clicking on MTN here. Now there's something they talked about here. It says authentication. This authentication is very important. Yes, the type of authentication VBP use. We have four types of authentication. We have this one that says is a basic authentication. So the basic, of course, is concatenated in this format, and you can see what the system requires. It requires your email and your password to create the authentication details. So these two things would be used to generate the authentication code that will be placed in the header. So so that I don't talk Spanish to non-tech guys or non-programmers. Let me put it that way. Non-programmers. So far you can handle your phone, you can handle your laptop. Of course, you're also a tech guy or a tech lady. Tech guy, tech. I think guy is for both female and male. So yeah, you're also a tech guy, but programming now is on a different level. So it does not matter if so. With this now, we can create something. So it's going to generate a code, and that code will be used to implement the API on VBP, on VTU Business, on your VTU Business Portal. So they've done well to add a demo, a sandbox. Sandbox is just like kind of a demo. So they've done well to add a demo API that we can use. Then they've given us a test phone number, and they've documented the requirements, which is the mandatory or the optional fields. So which is great, which I think is great. So I'm just going to go straight to the implementation. So what we need, the only thing we need here is the what we've talked about, the authentication, then the purchase product. So I'm just going to take us to a site to generate the authentication code at first, because we need that. So the site we are on now, the site to generate the authentication code from your username and password is called base64 encode. So we'll be encoding it to get our authentication values. So I think for the sandbox login details, we're having sandbox at vtpass.com. Then we'll be putting a semicolon as we have seen it here. You understand? So the password is also sandbox. So we have that now. We can now copy. So we can now encode. Click on encode. So it will roll, and you know what? It will now encode for us. So these are our encoded details that we need. You understand? That's our encoded details. So having set that, just copy that and paste it somewhere. So now we now have to copy this, which is the sandbox URL. to paste here, as you've seen. So since this is using an header, the header for authentication, now it's different from this is different from other APIs that you can pass every string into the URL. So instead of passing string into the URL now, we are actually passing them into the headers and the data and the body of the data that has been passed. So that's why we are doing this. So you can see how I've done it here. Just so if you are using VT Pass, just watch the video and do exactly what I've done. So even if you can't generate this, or in fact you have to know how to generate that. So just go to that site, copy and put here. Make sure there's a space between the basic and the code that you copied here. You understand? Make sure there's a difference, there's a space there, so that the system will identify it, or else you'll be getting errors. So having said that, now we've already copied the sandbox URL, which is the sandbox.vtpass.com/API/pay. So the next thing to do is the API URL data. You understand? The API URL data is the next thing to do. So we'll be doing that now in this format. So before we go about doing that, let's go back to the API that is being set for us by VT Pass. So as you can see now that we have the service ID to be MTN. So now if we should continue checking, we are going to realize that the service ID for Glow will be Glow, the one for Airtel will be Airtel, the one for Etisalat, for Nine Mobile will be Etisalat. You understand? Yeah, Etisalat, I think, because that's what I think is there. So the way BBP is being set up, you understand? The way we set up VBP is that for this network tracing, this is where the users see what is here. So this is what the user sees on the front end. They don't see all these things. They don't see them. So these are the backend configuration. So you can see there is a pipe in between. The pipe is very important. You understand? Even if you are not giving the referral anything, you understand. Is it the referral now? Sorry. When your client, I've explained this earlier, when your client is trying to recharge. So maybe VT Pass is giving you let's say 98 naira or 96 naira for an M10 airtime. You understand? So you want to deduct, you want to say, okay, if you are purchasing 100 naira on my own site also, I'll be giving an allowance of 2 naira. So you can just put 2 here just to show. But always remember that the pipe should be there. The pipe is very important. So then the transaction successful. Why? Because that's what we are going to get after a successful transaction. You understand? So this one says, yeah, you can see where it is. So transaction successful. So we're going to get that. So the code will check through a string, through the string, to see if there is any occurrence of this. If there is no occurrence of this, that means that the transaction was not successful. You understand? So that's why this is there. So all we need to do is just, yeah. Then the API URL data, just look at it here. We have the network code. So it's going to pick what we have here, which is the MTN, then place it here, then the amount the person is buying, then the phone number of the person, then this other number that the system would provide. You understand? So then this one, as you've done, as you've generated from the base encode. So that's what we pasted here. Then we're just going to save that, and that's all. So if we should try, this is a sandbox, so we can try it out and see what the result will be. You understand? So So we have our dashboard here. Yeah, you can see. So I'm just gonna pick 500 and write in the our sample number here. Then that's what we're going to be using. So paste. Oh, it says invalid number. So it's not a real number actually. So though I'm still gonna force it to go. Normally it's not supposed to go, but look at now. You can see that we have recharge was successful. So and that's it. So it means that the integration with VT PASS work to find. So with the next video, I'm gonna move to integration with VT PASS also, but this time we will be integrating the data. You understand? Thank you very much and stay tuned for the next video.